We've got a college baseball pitcher on the podcast today. He's got an interesting story to share with you guys today. Who is it? Find out in the next edition of Sideline Sports Podcast. Welcome to Sideline Sports Podcast. If you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. And we welcome you back to another edition of Sideline Sports Podcast. I'm the host, Alex Naveja, where if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast, the source of your SoCal sports news. And we're going to step aside on talking about our usual SoCal sports. You guys know what's going on with spring training, college baseball, basketball with NBA and NHL. We're going to talk about a Cerritos College pitcher. He's got an interesting story to share with each and one of you guys, folks. None other than right-handed pitcher Justin Almeda. Justin, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We really appreciate you coming on.
No, it's an honor, man. It's an honor to be able to come onto your show and be able to speak about my story, man, and hopefully get it out and let other kids that are probably in the same situation that I was in be able to get them out and speak up about it.
There you go, man. I know a lot of people are going to be watching this. A lot of people are going to be interested in your story, and everybody can relate to your story. But before we get into that, Sideline Sports Podcast was brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming, and of course, in-phase grooming as well. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you their best tools for your grooming experiences. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for all of my listeners and my viewers, 20% off plus free shipping. Not just 20% off, free shipping to go along with it, as long as you use my promo code Sideline20. Again, that is Sideline20 to be able to save yourself 20% off plus free shipping. With all of that, to give you a little snippet of the Lawnmower 3.0, this is just one of the pieces that you can get along with the Manscaped travel bag, along with the charger, the deodorant sprays that you could get along with it. So make sure to get all of it 20% off with free shipping with Sideline20 as the promo code. So let's go ahead and get things started with the podcast. Justin, I know you've endured a lot physically, mentally. It has been a serious journey within the last, I'm going to say 2 years. It's been a grind for you. It has been very tough for you to come back. None other. Take it away. The mic is all yours.
Yeah, so it's been about almost 3 years since I played a meaningful baseball game, and about 2.5 years ago, I completely blew my arm out. You know, when I first blew my arm out, you know, like I was kind of down about it, but the doctors kept telling me like, oh, you know, it's just another, you know, just another minor injury, and you'll be back with it in a year. But to be honest with you, it's a mentally draining process, and it's more mentally draining than physically. And it got even worse, especially after COVID hit. You know, my physical therapy and all that, you know, just got canceled, and a lot of things went downhill from there.
So when the injury happened itself, what did you feel, and what came to your mind right away in that instance?
So we were at practice, and we do this thing called 27 outs, and we were there for about 2.5 hours doing it. And after my coach had me throw a bullpen, and my last couple of pitches, my arm kind of felt a little dead, but I was one of those kids that were like just pushing through it. And, you know, like I had about 2 more pitches left, and my second to last one, I threw it, and I just felt like my arm broke, but my adrenaline was rushing so much that, you know, I had one more pitch in me. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to throw it and go get some ice. But as soon as I threw that pitch, I knew my arm was like, it was no good. I went to, it was a Saturday, so the trainers were closed. So I went to the emergency room. They took X-rays. They saw a couple bone chips, but they sent me for an MRI, and little you know, I completely tore my ulnar collateral ligament and required Tommy John surgery.
And for those of you guys that don't know what Tommy John surgery is, yes, it is to be able to repair the UCL like that. And it's a very long recuperation for baseball players. And I know, Justin, you're still in the middle of recuperation. And before we even talk about your rehabbing, what was the surgery like? Explain to us, if do you have a scar of the surgery right now?
So here's, I don't know if you guys can see it. Here's a scar. And then they took out, as you can see right here, and right here, they took out this ligament down here, and they kind of just replaced it and put it up there. And in the process, they also took off bone chips.
Wow.
Those bodies because my tendon was a little strong, so before my ulnar collateral tore, it chipped off a couple pieces off my bone before it completely tore off.
So they basically take out the ligaments there. Do they get it from the other arms? It's you're a right-handed pitcher, so you would basically take it out from the left, or?
Oh no, they took it out. So I don't know if you could see when you go like this. There's a kind of like a little ligament. A lot of people don't have it, but in my case, I did have it. So they kind of took out the one in my right arm, the same arm I tore my UCL in, and they just kind of replaced it. So I was able. So I wasn't be able to use both of my hands.
So when you after the surgery happened, and actually even before we even talk about getting the surgery, when the doctor told you you're going to need surgery and you knew it was going to be Tommy John, what were your thoughts exactly? Tell us what came to your mind. I mean, you're already very familiar with Tommy John surgery as a baseball player. We all know what it is, but now the doctor's telling you, Justin, we have to operate on your elbow, and it's going to come down to the wire.
So I'm a young college student. I had just turned 18 at the time when I tore it. And to be honest with you, it was tough because our season was kind of going pretty bad that year. So it kind of just brought my, my mentalness a little down, because I knew it was going to be a pretty hard grind to be able to come back. And as a JC guy, it's tough being able to hang in there with those guys, because people just come and go. And I just kind of embraced it and just try to keep grinding. And before the surgery, I was trying at least to do physical therapy, maybe at least try to let my arm heal, but I needed the surgery. It was pretty bad. So I was just trying to stay positive throughout the whole process, and until I got my surgery.
Was there anything in particular that was really getting you through that period when you knew that you were going to need the surgery to get you through the negativities and the downtime?
Just staying out on the field with the guys, watching them play and grind it out, that kept my spirits up, knowing that like there's possibility of chance. But it was always stuck in the back of my head, knowing that I'll probably never be able to come back and play baseball again, because that surgery it ruins careers, and that always stuck in the back of my head.
Yeah, you and I both know a lot of Tommy John surgery cases, a lot of guys don't come the same. And there's a lot of cases that guys do come back even better. So there's always that other half of looking at the glass half full and not half empty. But now you get the surgery, you're done. What afterwards? What were the procedures that the college was telling you? What did you have to do afterwards?
So when I tore my UCL, it was kind of my thing, because I got hurt in off period. But I was in a baseball class, and basically the trainers told me that I had to follow my personal doctor's orders, because the school wasn't technically responsible for my injury. So I was just kind of following my surgeon from Kaiser and following their protocols. And when I was doing my little rehabs at Cerritos, I would go in for my IC and keep the trainers updated. But it was kind of more of a personal thing off the field with my personal doctors.
So when the surgery happened, afterwards that was done, did they give you a day as far as how long the recuperation process was going to take?
So actually, when the surgery occurred, I'll talk about how the surgery felt after. Surgery was painful. I woke up in pain. I woke up in so much pain. they actually had to insert a needle into my neck to be
Wow.
able to pinch a nerve to be able to numb my whole arm so the pain could go away. And they ended up giving me some special cocktail for the pain that I guess I was allergic to, and I stopped breathing.
Oh
I
no.
stopped breathing for like a couple minutes. But yeah, that waking up from that surgery was probably the worst like moment of that whole the whole process leading up to that. But yeah, can you repeat your question one more time?
I was asking you about how long did
Oh yeah.
the
So
procedure?
the doctor told me I was gonna be in immobility for about 3 4 months. Start light tossing within not even light tossing, just getting my arm up here and just flicking the ball about 6 months, about 5 to 6 months. But he told me about a year and 2 months I should be good. And that kind of kept my spirits up because I got hurt in a period where I would possibly be able to come back and play the next season, which that's when I kind of all the COVID happened. But yeah, and around month 8, month 9 was kind of like that period with Tommy John where you kind of getting your arm motion back and like learning how to throw a baseball again, and that's kind of where that's kind of where everything just went downhill from there because that's when my physical therapy had to shut down. They had to take the big protocols because the world had shut down basically. Everything closed. And that's kind of where I hit my my athlete depression and performance anxiety.
So before we talk about the depression very quickly, I was going to ask you now after the surgery and all of that, what was there anybody in particular, or was there something that really helped you get through that? And I guess you can talk about the depression as well, like what really caused the depression to happen, what got you through that to be able to really get the ball rolling again.
So one person in particular that when I woke up from my surgery that was there was my mom. She was kind of there for me, and then at the time, I'm really close to my high school coach, Warren baseball head coach Scott Pearson. So I kind of called him right after my surgery and let him know that I was doing good because yeah, he had called me before my surgery and wanted to make sure I was good. So those were two people that kind of were that I woke up to and knew like kind of on my side. But what happened when I kind of felt like my depression kicking in was when my when I felt like my medical team kind of gave up on me when COVID hit and they had to close everything down because I never got that call back from them, or it was nothing, there was no kind of no more communication within there. So I kind of felt that they gave up on me in the middle of my rehab process. And as an 18-year-old, I'm clueless about rehabbing from Tommy John. Like I had no friends that had surgery at the time. Nobody could really help me. And financially, trying to find somebody to be able to get me back on my grind, it was kind of tough. So I just kind of I felt like everybody just gave up on me, so I kind of gave up on myself. And that's something that like it really hit home because I tried a lot. I'm known as a kid, like I was always happy, cracking jokes, messing around, that little foolish kid. I was always keeping spirits up, and I didn't want nobody to know what I was going through, and I tried so hard to hide my feelings and my emotions, just keeping that fake smile on my face.
So with everything that was going on as far as depression and all that is concerned, Justin, how did you manage to cope with it? Well, how did you deal with it?
So, like I said, I was a kid that that was always happy and fun, outgoing. I was always cheerful and had that smile on my face and was a jokester, and I didn't want people to see me down and stuff. So, I kind of to mask my feelings. I went out a lot, try to forget about baseball, and I kind of started drinking. Getting into marijuana, and that's not the right way to do things. There's other things like speaking up to somebody. Somebody close to you, a school counselor, college counselor. Private help, but stuff like that, it's really not something you need to go to because it only is going to make you worse, and it's only going to deteriorate you and make your body feel like but yeah, I think that that's a terrible way to cope with depression because it's only masking your feelings for a certain amount of time before you think you need to do it again and again and again. And sometimes for other people, it leads to more drugs. Like they feel like they need something else to keep their feelings hidden, and that's really something that I'm glad I learned that you don't need. And now I'm surrounded by positive vibes. My body feels healthy. I physically feel great. um I have a nice nutrition, working out. I feel better than I ever have in my entire life. I feel like I'm a 4-year-old kid, be able to run to the park and play with the playground and stuff like that. Like I feel like I'm ready to run through a wall and just keep going. I'm fired up. But yeah, I'm ready.
That's the right attitude right there, Justin. Always having the positive vibes. Always don't let the negativity kick you or anything. Always got to push forward. And of course, if you're a college student, college athlete, make sure to go to your student health services with your local college, your high school, your university. They will definitely help you out in those circumstances. So, now that things are starting to get a little better now for the pandemic, it looks like there's a lot more facilities opening up. You with the pandemic that happened, with shutting everything down, what what was it that helped you to be able to now start getting back into rehabbing? What was getting you back into working out and getting your body into shape and really getting that arm back into its original strength?
So before I get into that, I wrote a little story about my depression that I shared with everybody. So this is what I wrote as soon as I started feeling a little better. Um, this is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And before I get into this topic, I do not want anyone to feel sorry or bad for me, because this is a real thing. I know there are plenty of people out there who are too scared to speak up because of their fear of humiliation and scared of people judging them. Over the past 2.5 years, I had major elbow reconstruction surgery known as Tommy John surgery that ends the career of most people. And the thought of probably never be able to come back and never play the game with the blink of an eye hit hard. But that still didn't stop me from trying. As the months went along, there were days that I took 2 steps forward, and the next day felt like I took 3 steps backwards. And it was really hard for me to understand the process of coming back from an injury like that. And halfway through my process, COVID-19 hit the country hard and shut down sports and everything. My physical therapy as well. And I spent the days alone trying to figure out how I'm gonna get my arm back after abruptly stopping my rehab. And it felt like everyone and everything quit on me, and I quit on myself, and slowly realized that my career was coming to an end, as I hadn't played a meaningful game since 2017. And then performance anxiety hit hard as I started to get back into the things of summer of 2020. I had a setback in my I had a setback and felt like my arm didn't feel the same at that point. And I told myself there's no chance of you coming back at least the same. The constant anxiety of not being able to ask for help because I felt like no one could relate to me and what I was feeling. I didn't realize how many people I had around me that I could talk to, because the thought that they would just look at me and laugh and not care. And I always put it to the side thinking it would get better as time went on, but it only got worse. Feeling alone throughout the process ruined my self-confidence and self-love. It was easy for me to hide it as many people close to me started to notice. I pushed them away. I didn't want my problems to be theirs. But as it affected me in my personal life, and I finally hit the lowest point of my personal and athletic life, I knew no one could put me out of a hole that I was in but myself. I wasn't gonna get better by having people pull me out of a hole I dug. I knew it was a battle that I had to do alone, because no one can help you build self-confidence and self-love other than yourself. And I finally understood that and finally had the courage to speak up to the people around me. And instead of letting my problems build up and eat me alive. Since then, I have set up personal goals each day and control what I can control and let other things play out. As I know I'm putting all my into athletics and life, no one believes in you more than you believe in yourself. And without self-confidence and self-love, you will get nowhere in sports and, importantly, life. I know there are other people out there in this world who are afraid to speak up about their problems. But trust me, speaking up to the people closest to you can change your life for the better and help you prosper in life. And I hope other people can speak up because the closest people to you really care for you and want you to grow and succeed. Spreading positive vibes and turning negative situations into lessons and learning from them instead of beating yourself up about it is the best thing you can do. Thank you for all your time, and I hope this can help someone that's ever felt like this or is in a situation like this. Love, JJ.
Super inspiring story right there, Justin. Super inspiring. And like you mentioned before, it's a tough grind. It's very hard physically, very tough mentally. And just thank you again for being able to share the story with everybody, and for now helping the athletes that are not only enduring things mentally, but enduring things physically. Now, you were talking about your mom, her being that, just being that person to continue to push forward with. Not only your mom, who else was there for you? What did they do to really help you get through these tough times?
Um, so when I was going through this, I didn't want my parents to know because I didn't want them to feel like, oh damn, I have a son that's going through this. Like I didn't want them to feel it was their fault. So I didn't really tell them, but as things got worse, the first person I did tell was my girlfriend because I'm really close to her, and I'm able to tell her everything. And that's when kind of things like turned around for me because I came out to her. I was honestly in like a dark place. I when I say I hit my lowest point of my life, like I hit the lowest point, and after that, you already know what happens after that. And I didn't want to be another statistic. I didn't want to be another, oh, like here's another number to the books. So I built the courage to speak up. I told my girlfriend, and she kind of pushed me through it, and that's where I was able to finally speak up to my mom and the closest people around me. And knowing that they were always there for me, and me feeling like that, like me feeling that they weren't there, is just, it's something that you have to realize and not put it in your head that nobody's there for me, because there's so many people that care for you, for me, like there's never going to be somebody that doesn't care. And that's what I finally realized, and that's what kind of just sparked the plug for me, and it changed things for me.
Definitely. There's always that support system. There's always people that are going to be listening out there for you. There's always people that, hey, you make an impact to a lot of people. I mean, it's not just you, Justin, your family, your friends, your girlfriend, but I mean, you've got the fan base of Cerritos College as well that you're making a big impact for as well. And hey, they're definitely missing you there. So what really motivated you to get through these times too? You talked about the girlfriend, you talked about your parents, you talked about everything. What was it that was finally okay? Let's go. Let's vamos a echarle ganas. Like the word. Let's blow. Let's go. Let's move. Let's get this. Let's get the ball rolling. It's not over yet. Like I'm still recuperating. Let's go. Let's get the positive vibes going.
So when I came out and told my girlfriend, it kind of hit me like Justin, like there's a reason why you're still here, like, instead of beating yourself up about it, be the voice. Like now I want to be the voice for people and be able to let people know, like, this is something that you can get out of. Like, this is not a hole that, I call it the black hole because it sucks everybody in and you don't come out. And I knew that if I was able to overcome it, I can be able to be there for everybody and be able to let them know, like, hey, look, I went through this, not only in sports, but for people in life, just normal people. Like there's always a way out, and being able to find that way out is just, you have that tunnel vision and that strong mindset. And, that's what kind of got the ball rolling for me. And then I met my performance trainer. His name is Ryan Aguirre. He works at self-made training facility out in Orange County. And that's kind of what got the ball rolling for me. About a month and a half ago, I met with him, and I told him what happened. Told him my story and everything, and he told me, like, like, you're not just another client. I'm gonna push you and get the best out of you. And that stuck out to me because it felt like another person cared for me. So that really fired me up. And ever since then, I just been going at it. I work out twice a day, my training and my baseball workouts, and knowing that coming out of that dark place and being able to turn it into a positive vibe and learning from it and building from it kind of hit me in a very good way, and it gave me a purpose in life. Being able to have a purpose in life, just it keeps me going and keeps me striving for better.
And just the fact that you're coming out with this story, I know it's going to really help out a lot of athletes out there, and it's going to this story is going to really help out a lot of people, and really going to push people and really motivate them to their best and really give it their all. Now, you were talking a little bit about your baseball workouts. For the people that don't know, what are baseball workouts exactly? What does that entail?
So I train about 4 days a week. So what I do is I go with my trainer at 7 in the morning. We do we have 2 days of upper body, 2 days of lower body, and there's obviously different workouts for different sports, but for me, since I have an injury like this, we kind of focused on building strength in my legs, on my arms, my back, be able to support my elbow from not happening this again. So it's kind of just, it's not a lot of weightlifting. It is a lot of weightlifting, but it's a lot of little mobility stuff and, getting those tweaks in to be able to have that nice flow in your body again. And then after that, about when I finish my workout about at 8 in the morning, 8:30, I go to the cage in Los Alamitos, and I work with my coach, Tony Miranda from Cerritos College. And I started working with the pitching coach there as well. Just kind of getting my mechanics back, because I am new to pitching. As I've never pitched in my life until my freshman year at Cerritos College. I was always an outfielder, so that's probably why I tore my UCL. But I'm not even focused about the velocity right now, because the velocity is there for me. But it's just working more on my mechanics and just those little things from preventing my injury to happen again.
So you touched briefly on the rehabilitation. What has that been like? What have been some of the workouts you've been having to do as far as trying to get that strength back into your arm? You were talking about it, and as an outfielder, you already have the arm strength into it. And now to become a pitcher, that's a whole new level of arm strength. So what were some of those things that you had to do?
So when I got fresh out of Tommy John, as my arm was stuck like this for about 4 months. So the main thing was to get my arm straight again. As you can see, my arm's straight now. Probably not as straight as this arm. As you can see, this arm, there's probably still a little bend in this arm. But when I first had my surgery, my arm was probably 10 times skinnier than this.
Wow.
I lost probably almost all my muscle in my arm. So the main thing was kind of getting my arm straight again to be able to get my arm nice and flow and get everything out there. And then after that was just slowly building the muscle and letting the new ligament find its new place in the home. So I did a lot of rolling to get for the forearms, a lot of tricep work, and just building muscle around the elbow for it to be more secure this time. And then also changing my arm angles, because from throwing it from the outfield, you're winding up and you're giving it all. And then when you're on the mound, you're kind of in one spot, and then you kind of got to use a lot of your you put a lot of force on your elbow. So it's just kind of being able to, cause I still want to play both positions. So it's kind of being able to know when to switch to being an outfielder and kind of when to switch to being a pitcher. So that's a process I'm learning right now, and it's going really good for me. And I get a lot of knowledge. I did at the cage where I'm at. A lot of major leaguers have been getting ready for their spring training. They're all out in spring training now. But one guy that stuck out to me was Chris Davinski. As you guys know, he's a 2017 world champ with the Astros. But he's a hell of a pitcher, and I kind of told him my story, and he told me the same. He had the same story, but different injury, and he kind of just told me, like, keep it going, like, like use that story and use what you went through to, fire you up and keep going. And that's what it has, and he was helping me with my mechanics. Some other guys, Chase DeJong, and Dan, some other pitcher from the Seattle Mariners organization, they were kind of just, helping with my mechanics, knowing that that I was a former outfielder who tore my UCL. I'm trying to be a pitcher, and they were just kind of giving me little tweaks and giving me little notes, and being able to grasp the knowledge that they were giving to me it's really helpful. And especially as a young guy like me, who never pitched before. It's been a good journey, and I embraced it.
What did that feel like to be able to get advice from these major leaguers? They're in the show. They've lived exactly through what you went through. What did that feel like? And what were a couple of things that they told you as well?
And honestly, talking to Chris Davinski, because he's more proven out of all the guys. He just told me like we're not the same. We are the same. Like the only thing is I play Major League Baseball, but I have the same feelings. I have the same heart as you. Like I still have the same brain as you, and it's just something that you can't determine you're better than somebody just because you're in the major leagues. Like it's completely different. It's bigger than that, and him telling me that really stuck out to me. And he goes by saying no limits, and that really stuck out to me because I have no limits now to myself. Like there's always something to getting better at, and he was just kind of just like it wasn't even more of helping with my pitching. It was just more of getting into my mental and letting me know that like, hey, like you went through this. It's you either let it break you or you make you, and it actually made who I am, and it helping me become a better person each day. And like I'm not gonna have perfect days. Like I don't want to have perfect days because if you're having a perfect day, if you're trying to have perfect days, then you're not growing as a person. And now I'm more prepared to have bad days. Like there's times where I still do have bad days, but I'm more prepared. And being able to be more prepared it gets me through it, and it helps me build off those and creates lessons for me and be able to grow from it and build off of it. And it's actually a good thing that I'm doing that, and it helps a lot. And also I've read this book a couple times in the last 2 years, but it's a book, Relentless by Tim Grover. This book, it's not your typical motivational book. He really lets you know like, hey, like no one's gonna get it done for you but yourself. And reading has helped me a lot, especially this book for those who haven't read it. um it's really helping me. And then also I write in my notes each day. I name it one 1% every day to create a better version of yourself. So I don't know if you see that. So each day, when I'm reading or I'm going about my day, and I hear something that sticks out to me, I stop and I write it in my notes. I'll go over a couple of them. So the first one that I wrote was take negative situations into lessons and build them into positive solutions. Don't take a negative situation and get down on yourself. Realize there's always a positive and there's a lesson not to come from it, and it just helps you build. If you're not physically prepared, then you're not mentally ready. You have to physically prepare yourself before you get yourself mentally ready. If you don't feel physically good, it's gonna mess with you mentally. So you kind of have to prepare your body and then prepare your mind. So I take about 10 to 15 minutes each day to just sit in my room, turn my phone off, and just close my eyes and meditate, and just let everything, like the quietness just go through my brain, and it relaxes me and helps me a lot. And another one, the same boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg. It's about what you're made of, not the circumstances. You know?
These are pretty good. They're really good.
And another one from growth. If there is no struggle, there's no progress. You have to struggle sometimes to be able to progress in life. And that's what kind of stuck out to me a lot because I struggled. I struggled with depression. I struggled with performance anxiety. And to be honest, I'm kind of glad I went through that, but because it only helped me become a better person, and it made me mentally stronger than when I was before. And that's something that a lot of people will have to realize, that sometimes you have to go through a low period of your time or a struggle in your life, that it helps you become a better person and makes you realize things, that there's a bigger picture to it. And then I'll read one more. Let me see. Let me find a good one.
Yeah, you've already got a lot of good ones. I mean, I think all of them have been really good ones.
Yeah.
Let's see. Which one are we going to finish up with?
Let me see. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Have to finish up strong.
Let me see. Let me get you a good one. don't stop now. Don't get complacent and keep going.
That's a good one. A lot of people get comfortable with where they're at, and it's never good to be comfortable with something when you know you can always go
Right.
for better. You can don't I've always been a fan of don't ever settle with anything in life. If you can always upgrade or improve yourself, then hey, what are you doing? You need to try to look for something better. Don't ever settle for anything. And then my saying is don't stop till you're at the top. That's always my phrase as well. I'm not going to stop until I'm all the way to the top of the level that I want to be at. So those are all really great sayings right there, Justin. Now, with all of this positive mentality, the advice you're getting from guys that do this on a daily basis in the show, and with your meditating, how has that really progressed you with life? Where are you at now? How are things really looking from how things were from a negative and now looking from a positive? Now, how are things looking?
Man, I wake up every day, like ready to go at life. Like, it feels so good waking up every day and, getting to my workouts and doing everything I need to do to get myself better. And then I feel so great, like I know I'm in a different position I was a couple months ago and last year and with the last 2 years. And being able to like feel that way, it only lights a fire under me more because I know like I can keep going and keep getting myself better. Like I'm not where I want to be yet. Like I know there's other places I can get myself to, and knowing that it keeps me pushing every day and keeps me growing. And I'm not now. I used to be like, oh, like I don't need your advice. Like I take any advice I can. Whether it's bad advice or good advice. Like I take it and I flip it into my own advice and kind of build off of it because everybody's different. Like nobody knows you more than you know yourself. And that helps me being able to listen to guys who's been there, who especially guys who play in the MLB. They get paid to play the game. I don't. And then for them to tell me that they have felt the same way and they get paid to do it, you know everybody goes through it. And there's only yourself can that pull you out of it. And that's what really keeps me going every day because I know there's more than there's more to it than what you really think.
Right. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to help out and really willing to. There's still a lot of good people. To keep it short and simple, there's still a lot of good people. A lot of people willing to listen to you and willing to be there for you. Now, I wanted to ask you what advice, what tips or pointers would you want to give to people that are going through the same struggle that you went through, or that are currently going through it?
Speak up, talk to somebody. Because if you let it build up, like I said in my story, it's gonna eat you alive, and it's gonna even keep digging that hole deeper for you. Speak up. Somebody cares. You know, my trainer. Every time I go to my trainer. He asks me how I'm doing, and he means it. Like I just met my trainer about a month and a half ago, and knowing that he really cares about me and really cares about my growth. Sometimes I think he cares about getting me better than I get trying to get myself better, and that really
Right,
pushes me.
nice.
And like I have a lot of love for my trainer now, and especially what the facility is called self-made. Be self-made. Get yourself better every day. Speak up. That's one of the main things. You got to speak up and really check up on your people. Don't ask them like, oh, what's up, bro, how you doing, and then they just say I'm doing all right. Really ask them like, are you really doing good, like, how's everything going. Really try to connect with your people. And don't don't let yourself, if you feel like you're in a dark place, don't seclude yourself from the rest. Speak up to your parents because your parents are your biggest supporters. At the end of the day, whether you have a good relationship or not, they care for you. And that's something I realized, knowing. But it's just I didn't want my problems to be my parents' problems. But at the end of the day, I know they got me because it's been like that for the last 20 years for me. My parents have been there for me, and knowing that I went through that little phase of depression, feeling like that, like I know that they're there for me and they're really pushing for me. And just knowing that you have a support system and really really want to speak up, and whoever sees this interview, feel free to reach out to me if you're ever feeling like this, because you're talking to someone that went through it. I don't mind giving somebody advice that I've never met before, because being able to help somebody pull themselves out of a hole like that, it makes me feel better, and it really does give me a purpose in life. it's bigger than being in sports. It's actually in life too. It's especially during COVID. Everything shut down. Everybody stays in their house. They feel lonely. And if you really look it up, suicide has skyrocketed since um the COVID hit. And it's something that really needs to be addressed and talked about, not only in sports but in life. People really need to. This is a real issue that people need to take initiative of.
It's a very serious problem indeed. A lot of people, it's a tough situation to be in a lot, and we're living through a tough time. And I definitely think there's a lot of light being shed through this negativity. And like I always like to say, when there's too much darkness, open a window. There's going to be some light that's going to shed through it there. Always look for a positive way to think of things. Justin, I want to finish up the interview with one question. When are you going to be back on the field? I gotta be there when you're going to be officially back.
As you know, our president has opted us out of this spring season. Things could change within the next 30 days. We don't know, but I'm still gonna get my body ready to be able to play somewhere. I might have some things lined up for me, but I plan to get out. If our season's canceled, I'm playing summer ball. I'm gonna get back out there. My body, my body's ready to get back out there. I'm eager to get back out there and dominate. Like I'm fired up about this season. Whether it happens or not, I'm ready to take my talent somewhere else and be able to give it everything I got, because I wanna, whether I make it to the pros or not, or I wanna give myself the chance and not give myself the regret of not being able to keep going and giving it my all. But you guys, you'll catch me out in the field soon.
We'll definitely be on the lookout on that. Folks, make sure to follow Justin in all of his social media platforms. I'll make sure to put his Instagram, his Twitter, everything down in the description below so you guys can follow Justin and what his journey consisted of, what it looked like from all the way back to when the surgery happened to what his workout regimen looks like. It's actually a very good workout regimen, and what he looks like now, because it's a very big difference from what he was before to now. He is an absolute new person. He's here for all of you guys. You guys can always reach out to him and his social media platforms. But that's all the time we have left here on Sideline Sports Podcast. We thank you all so much for tuning into this one. If you liked this episode with Justin Almeda and with all of his positive vibes, please give this episode a thumbs up. Please comment down below what you guys think. I'd love to be able to get more guests like Justin to be able to speak on matters like this. And also hit the subscribe button down below. Trying to reach 300 by the end of this year, guys. Trying to reach that number just for you guys. And again, thank you so much, Justin, for coming on to the show, sharing the story. I know that's very tough for you to do, but you know what? Coming in and having the courage to do that is a very tough job, and you did a great job, Justin. Thank you so much for the time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And, I just want to give another shout out to my trainer, Ryan Aguirre. You probably put his ad out down there, but he works at the self-made training facility out in OC. There's plenty of locations, but, be self-made,
I'll definitely put his social media handles down in the description below so you guys can check out Ryan and all of his workout regimen as well, what his clients are doing, and of course, to check out what Justin has going on in his workouts. But this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast was brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess on their technology development to provide the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for all of my listeners, my viewers, supporters, 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code Sideline20 to save you guys on those 20% and on the free shipping. You guys can get yourself a lawnmower 3.0 like one of these to be able to help you out with any of your grooming, so you guys can get the perfect package to get yourself one of these packages, the travel bags like these. So make sure to go on the Manscaped website to get yourself that promo code and Sideline 20% off and free shipping. I'm Alex Naveca from Sideline Sports Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into this one, guys. Have a great one and take care. As always, if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast.